Here's another video from Guilao 60. The last couple of videos were a little bit negative and depressing, so I thought I'd take Sam out for a ride and show you around a little bit on Nanning City. You know, we can talk about what Westerners hear about China and how it's a communist country and it's a totalitarian type of place and the people are repressed and they don't get to do what they want, and I don't see it. I've been here for 14 years now, and it's as capitalist as the United States, Canada, Europe. All of these little places are little privately owned businesses. Everybody is out to make money for themselves, the same way as in the West. They get up in the morning and they go to work, they come home at night, they have supper. Sure, you've got companies that are run by the government like China Mobile or the Department of Highways or the power corporations. But then in Saskatchewan, Sask Power is owned by the provincial government. SaskTel is owned by the provincial government. The Department of Highways is owned by the provincial government. So, you know, the idea that the government owns corporations is no different than the West. You know, so I don't get it. I see more capitalism here in China than I've ever seen in the West. There's more small business here. Either you're employed by the government or you're employed by small business. The larger businesses, yeah, they're probably mostly owned by the government. And yes, they may have more rules and regulations to go by. But really, you know, they're downtrodden people. I just don't see it, you know. And as I say, I've been here for 14 years. You know, one of the things that I can say about China is the crime rate is a lot less. I've been here long enough to know that, well, I've never seen, it gets a little noisy. It must be a rolling blackout here where they get the generators out on the street for power. I've never seen a violent crime. I've never seen violence. I've seen people yell at each other, but I've never seen violence in China. In Canada and the United States, yes, I've seen lots of violence. You know, so one thing struck me in Beihai about 8 years ago. We were out and it was about, I don't know, 12:30 in the morning. And there was maybe a 10-year-old girl and maybe a 4 or 5-year-old boy holding hands walking down the street, probably brother and sister, at 12:30 at night. And not a worry in the world. You know why? Because if anybody attacked them or did anything to these children, chances are the government, they'd be arrested and they just take them out and shoot them. Violent crime is one of those things that they just don't put up with here, so it doesn't happen very often. You've got to be quite a criminal to think about doing violent crimes. Another thing in China, if you get caught with saleable amounts of opium or heroin or even marijuana, you are toast, because they will take you out and they'll shoot you. You know, so it's not a good thing to get caught with drugs or doing violence in China. There's not that there's not that idea that, oh geez, I'll only get a couple of years for this. I'm not going to end up you know, in the electric chair or in front of a firing squad. Well, in the Eastern world, yes, you will, because those things are no-nos here. So if you're a foreigner and you think you're coming to China and you're going to be doing anything illegal, violent, or drug. No, you probably want to pick someplace that's a little bit more relaxed on that. Because here, no, it's not going to work. Another thing I'd like to talk to you about is we bought a condo or an apartment here in Nanning, as everybody that's watched my videos knows. Once we bought it, we paid a buyer's tax. I think it was 1% of the purchase value. After that, each year there is no property tax. You know, like the West, I know there's a property tax and you get dinged every year by the city. You got to pay for school taxes, you got to pay for, you know, your property tax. Another thing with it, my condo fees are 600 RMB a year, which is just over $100 a year for condo fees, and that's 24-hour-a-day security, that's maintenance, that's hauling garbage away, that's, you know, so that's good. Insurance on the property? No, there's no insurance on the property. So, and insurance in I don't know if I want to go in here. It looks like we're in. Well, let's follow it along a little bit. We're in a sort of a village inside the city, which is sort of cool. You know, here's how they sell the meat. That's gross. It tastes good. Nom, gotta cook it good. You know, so if you're not paying property tax and $3,000 a year, you're not paying your insurance, you know, $1,800 a year. You're not. It cuts down on your monthly expenses considerably as compared to the Western world. So that's one of the things that I really notice when I come over here is there's not those monthly expenses that just cost you over and over and over again. Chances are my monthly expenses over here are less than my property taxes and insurance on my property in Canada every month, just for the fact that you take $1 Canadian to, what is it, 5.4 RMB as it is today. So it's way cheaper to live here. Some of the things are more expensive, like meat is more expensive here. But then again, vegetables and fruit are next to nothing. You know, so it's, you know, and the types of fruit are just amazing. You know, there's fruits here that I've never even heard of. I don't even know what their name is, and I've been eating them for 14 years. I know what their Chinese names are, but as far as a Western name, no, I've never heard or seen these things in stores anywhere in the West, which is sort of cool, new stuff, new experience to melt in your mouth. So good. Fresh veggies, fresh fruits. Another thing that another thing that cuts costs in China is, you know, in the big city, well, this is a pretty big city, public transport is so good with the subway system, the bus system, even the trains from city to city, the e-bikes, you know, the alternative transportation other than a car is so inexpensive that, and a car getting around the city is so difficult that it just doesn't make sense. So you've got no car expense, you don't have the gas expense, you don't have the insurance on the car expense, you don't have the upkeep, the oil changes on the car, you know, so this cuts costs considerably every month also. So when you're looking at coming to China, you know, my wife and I, when we first get here, for the first month or two, it might cost us equivalent to 2,000 Canadian dollars a month to get, boy, construction everywhere. It's loud. 2,000 Canadian dollars a month just to get established back into China and whatever. But once we settle down, you know, we're probably only spending 4,000 or 5,000 RMB a month because, you know, we're into the home, we're eating at home, we're buying our groceries just like you would in the Western world. You know, we go out to the wet market once a day. It's tradition here. You go shopping pretty well every day. You know, the odd time you have leftovers and whatever, you put it in the fridge and then you don't go out. But most days we do go out grocery shopping. But we very seldom spend more than 50 RMB on groceries in a day. So, you know, the idea that China is a very inexpensive place to live. If you're a retired person and you're on a fixed income, yes, this is one of the places that you can go and live for, I don't know, $800 Canadian a month if you're watching it. And you know, when I say 4,000 or 5,000 RMB a month, that's me drinking as much beer as I want or as much brandy as I want. That's us eating what we want. We're not skimping to save money. We're spending what we want. We don't say, oh, I don't want to buy that because it's too expensive. We buy it anyway. You know, it's not one of those things that we're trying to save money. So a regular person living in China can live for 4,000 to 5,000 RMB a month. We plug in Sam every night, and I drive Sam pretty well every day and drain its power. Like I'll put on 35, 40 kilometers a day on this e-bike, and my father-in-law has an e-bike that now that he's in the hospital, Wei Fong has been using on a regular basis. And then Dung Dung's got an e-bike that she goes back and forth to work. So all of these bikes are plugged into the house power every day, charging them up. Plus we've got air conditioner going to keep the place cool in the summertime. In the wintertime, not so much. You know, but you know, the lights, we got 220 in the house, and our electric bill is between 100 and 150 RMB a month, so $20 to $30 a month. So, you know, our water might be 70 RMB every 3 months. So, you know, you're talking 15 bucks, $5 a month for water. Wow, you know, like it's not going to break you, that's for darn sure. So if you take all of these into consideration, boy, you're getting off pretty cheap living in a place like China. One of the things that is expensive, and when I initially moved to Nanning, it wasn't so expensive, is property. Property has gone just nuts in China. What we used to be able to spend 2,000 RMB per meter on is now about 10,000 RMB a meter. So if you consider regular, say an electrician is making 3,000 RMB a month, say 3,500 RMB a month, then the wife is doing something and she's making 2,500 RMB a month. But the house is, just for your basic property, is 750,000, and that's just entry-level stuff in Nanning. That's where it's really difficult. Chinese are savers, so you know they watch every penny that they spend, and it's because they all want to own their own home. A cousin of mine, Wufa, he just bought a place. It's not too far from our place, about 10 blocks away. And I think he spent just about 800,000 RMB, most of it borrowed from the bank, but it took him a long time. He's probably 45, 46 years old right now, and he's just able to do the down payment for his first house, and he has to help pay, his wife has to help pay, and the daughter now is helping to pay for the house, because in the future the house will become hers after Wu Fa and his wife are gone. So That's one thing in China that is just ridiculous expensive. But I guess it's because there's just so many people, and properties are, you know, there's not a lot of property in the city, and everybody wants to be close inside the city, not on the exterior of the city. So you can get cheaper stuff, but it's a long drive into the middle of the city. It's a lot like the Western world, you know. If you live in the suburbs outside the city, yeah, you've got an hour and some transport into the city to go to work, but the properties are cheaper, you know. Here, same thing, same thing, but everything is high-rise. There are no houses here. It's all high-rises and apartment buildings and such. So, you know, if the family can get together and own their own home, then after that, you know, life is pretty inexpensive here, which is one of the good things about China. The weather is beautiful today. It's 33 degrees outside. Humidity's 40-some degrees, or 40-some percent. So it only seems like it's maybe 36, 37 degrees. Better than yesterday at 47 degrees. Wow, I just melted my face off. But that's okay. I like the heat. I've got an Auntie Trudy that loves the heat too, so she would love it here in the summertime. Maybe not here, but I know she likes Arizona in the wintertime. We're gonna go down this street here. This street gets a little nuts at night. It's where all the university students come to eat and socialize. During the day, it's not so bad. Check it out. Yeah, it's the middle of the afternoon. It's 4:30, so, you know, school should be out pretty soon, and then you can't drive a bike down the street. It's walking street only, but then you get the people trying to drive their bikes and their cars down and honking horns and, you know, parking in the middle of the street to stop and get something to eat, or stopping in the middle of the street to play with their cell phone and whatever. It's the Chinese way, and that will never change. It doesn't matter what you do. You can't change 1.35 billion people. It's just impossible. And yes, it is loud here. I love the loud and hustle and bustle of the city. From a village of 250 people soaking wet in Saskatchewan to this is entertainment for me. I get off on the hustle and bustle of the city. It's just different, and I love it. The traffic, not so much. You know, driving this is, for the first little while it's tough, and then afterwards you get into the ebb and flow of the traffic in China, it's not so difficult, just as long as you're not afraid to make a move and Sam here's got some power too. A 60 volt, yes, it's a little bit above the legal limit. 48 volt is the legal limit, but hey, they don't stop me. So at the end of that video, the camera overheated, and I pushed the wrong button, and I thought I was recording again, but I wasn't. But to go out and do it again would be just fake, so I'm not going to do that. So this is what I look like driving down the street in Nanning City with my GoPro hat. And yes, I get some pretty funny looks, but hey, it works. It seems to work. So anyway, if you like this video, subscribe, like, comment. If you don't like it, comment. Show me some love, guys. Let me know that you're watching. Thanks for watching. Bye now.